What's up guys, Firewolf here, reviewing the ROG Swift OLED PG32UCDP gaming monitor. After dropping the UCDM review a few days back, you know I had to hit you guys with a UCDP review, so here it goes. This monitor has an awesome 32-inch 4K OLED display that doesn't just stop at a fast 240Hz refresh rate. Nope, it can go to an insane 480Hz refresh rate with its built-in dual mode switch that changes the native resolution from 4K down to Full HD 1080p to get you to that sweet 480 for serious gamers. But I would also argue that this monitor could be the best option for those that have even the lowest tier GPUs like the NVIDIA 4060 or AMD RX 7600. That 2-in-1 special comes with a premium price tag of $1,299, so I want to know if this monitor deserves a spot on your gaming desk setup. I'll also give you guys a comparison between the PG32UCDM in hopes that you guys can make the best decisions for your own unique gaming setups. Taking a deeper dive into the specs, the PG32UCDP features a 31.5-inch 3rd generation W-OLED panel, which gives you amazing and creamy blacks. You get a high pixel density of about 140 pixels per inch, which is great for small details and text. The screen is flat and has an anti-glare matte coating, which is perfect for very bright settings with max vitamin D sunlight coming right in. The intensity of the matte coating is very minimal, and while some display enthusiasts prefer glossier coatings, there are upsides to a matte display. More on this later. Colors pop with a 99% DCI-P3 color gamut coverage, and you're getting a color calibrated Delta less than 2 straight from ASUS. The latest firmware update, MCM 103, adds a couple of bug fixes with new features such as more advanced HDR control, optimized brightness performance, and increased AI feature sensitivity. For gaming, this monitor has AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, VESA certified adaptive sync for both 240 and 480Hz, and it's also NVIDIA G-Sync compatible. Now, at the time of this review, when setting up G-Sync, it will say it's not validated as G-Sync compatible, but don't worry guys. On NVIDIA's own list of G-Sync compatible monitors, the PG32UCDP is listed with an upcoming driver, which should give it that G-Sync certification. This monitor has an amazing range of inputs, which includes one DisplayPort 1.4 with downstream compression, two HDMI 2.1 ports, a USB-C DisplayPort with power delivery up to 90 watts, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a SPDIF output, and finally a USB 3.2 upstream port with 3 USB-A ports, which is fire. I love to see the USB-C input, which makes it easy to connect your MacBook or gaming laptop with just a single USB cable and doubling as a charger. For those that have seen my unboxing and first impressions video, you know that ASUS gives you an awesome pouch with all the input cables that you need with an amazing ROG themed design. The design of this monitor is the same as most ROG monitors. It features a cyberpunk theme aesthetic with a very sturdy stand that even includes a 1/4-inch tripod thread to mount things like a camera or extra lighting, which is great for streamers and content creators. The ROG logo lights up with RGB, which you can customize the colors in the settings or even sync it with ASUS's Aura Sync. The RGB lighting isn't the brightest, but still gives it a soft and gentle glow. The stand gives you a lot of ergonomic support such as height adjustment, tilt, and swivel. However, I'm not a fan of the triple legs that takes up a lot of your desk space. For more space and a cleaner setup, I highly recommend using a monitor arm. I do like how slim the bezels of the screen are and love the uniformity of it. Now there is a hump on the bottom which some of you guys might not like, but it does house the menu buttons and short keys on the back. The ROG logo also lights up, but you can also disable this for less distraction. Now let's test out the ROG Swift OLED PG32UCDP using my gaming PC equipped with an RTX 4090 and a Ryzen 9 7950X3D. Now stay tuned because I'll also drop the 4060 gameplay as well. Now starting it off with 4K gaming, it is straight up fire. This OLED display gives you amazing visuals whether you're gaming in SDR or HDR, and with a 240Hz refresh rate, ultra low 0.03 millisecond response times, you can still enjoy fast-paced action-packed gaming. Black Myth Wukong with DLSS set to quality and graphics set to cinematic looks incredible. The colors and deep blacks make this some of the best 4K gaming you can experience, with tons of added gaming features that ASUS has added. In SDR, there are many game visual settings to choose from that are optimized for different types of games, like a dedicated first-person shooter mode and different color modes. You can also adjust and enable shadow boost intensity with 3 levels, or you can use the AI shadow boost that automatically enhances dark areas, which is great for FPS shooters. Now, talking about AI, which is the biggest craze nowadays, they even have an AI crosshair that automatically changes the color of the crosshair for better visibility, AI sniper, which automatically zooms in on a target, which I thought was really cool, but also feels like a little bit of cheating. There's also a multiplayer online battle arena, or MOBA for short, map helper. All of these AI features are housed conveniently in an AI assistant menu setting, which is listed at the top. Now, there is also an upcoming AI visual mode and a later update that will automatically detect what's on your screen and adjust it to give you the best visual experience. I really wish I was able to test this, but hopefully the later update includes this so that way you guys can enjoy that AI visual mode. In HDR, you can choose between 4 different modes with the ability to enable brightness adjustments in each mode. HDR gaming looks incredible with an HDR peak of 1300 nits of brightness, making this peak higher than the PG32 UCDM. Choosing to game in either 4K or 1080p is really simple for me. I'm choosing 4K every single time. But for those who need the max frames per second to give you the slightest edge in competitive gaming, then 1080p at 480Hz is perfect and meant for you. You can switch to 1080p using either a short key or selecting frame rate boost. It takes a few seconds and you're now able to game in 1080p at 480Hz refresh rate. I highly recommend you switch to this before starting any game, since doing this in game will cause some issues. On most games, you're going to see an immediate boost in frames per second versus 4K, but for me, I still prefer 4K gaming even when playing first-person shooters. But this feature will benefit gamers who want that ultra smooth experience and competitive advantage. I mean, you can even downsize the window to a 27-inch or a 24.5-inch, which are sizes you see in esports gaming. And thanks to OLED, the surrounding black borders are a nice true black, which blends in almost perfectly at night. Now, what if you're someone who has a budget to mid-range graphics card? Well, instead of using this $2,000 ROG Strix 4090, let's use my $300 ASUS Dual 4060 instead. Now, these cards are not meant for 4K gaming, but with an easy switch, I can now have a 32-inch gaming monitor that is running natively at 1080p, where these GPUs can deliver a great gaming experience. I can easily run the same games with similar graphic settings, and the fact that once I'm done gaming, I can just switch it back to 4K, and now I can do all my productivity, web browsing, and office tasks in a beautiful OLED display at 4K. I mean, sure, I'm nowhere near 480 FPS with this GPU, but being able to go from 4K to 1080p comes in clutch. Testing out the PS5 on this monitor will support 4K with variable refresh rate all the way up to 120Hz, which is thanks to HDMI 2.1. This unlocks your console's full potential, and for games that support VRR, you'll experience smoother gameplay. Now, there's really no benefit into switching to 1080p mode since the PS5's max refresh rate is 120Hz and gaming performance is basically the same. Since this monitor has no built-in speakers, we do have a few options for sound output. You can use a 3.5mm headphone jack to connect to an external speaker, or you can use a digital audio optical output. Of course, you also have the option of using headphones, but for console users that want to use external speakers like myself, we have a few options. I think this monitor is still a great option for console gamers looking for an awesome OLED experience. Now let's talk about the biggest debate: gloss versus matte, or in this case, UCDM versus UCDP. This section of this review will be the same on both of these respective review videos, as I try my best to show you the differences between the two. The UCDM uses QD OLED technology from Samsung, while the UCDP uses W-OLED technology from LG. They both have their pros and cons, but what separates the experience is the added layer on top of these OLED technologies. The UCDM has an anti-reflective semi-gloss coating, which gives it that sleek and clear look that you might find similar to your own smartphone, tablet, or laptop, which are normally true gloss. The UCDP, on the other hand, uses an anti-glare matte coating, which gives it that slight fuzzy look, but eliminates glare and reflection. Now, there is no denying that glossier displays look better than matte, since you're getting a more vibrant and intense picture quality. But there's a reason why the majority of monitors use matte coatings. I mean, even Samsung made the switch to non-glare matte coatings on their latest G80 SD and G60 SD monitors. Using a glossier display in very bright setups and direct sunlight can and probably will ruin your experience. And in this example, you can tell that the UCDP is still black with intense lighting hitting it, while the UCDM has a magenta purplish tint that becomes very obvious. And in this example, you can see the reflections of light, or in this case, my windows being reflected on the UCDM, while the UCDP does not have that same reflection. Now it's going to be a matter of personal preference and your unique setup. Take this comment for example on my UCDP first impressions video, where Ace of Spades says, "Just got mine this week. I love it way more than my 3423 DWF QD OLED because I game near a window in a large room, and even with the blinds down, the old monitor was almost unusable. I would literally use my IPS $120 second monitor more. Now with the W-OLED, it is a game changer. So much more use during all times of day. The QD does have more vibrant colors, but only if you can fully control all your light sources in the room." Now obviously in his experience, what really made that difference is not really the W-OLED or QD OLED, it's really because of the coating. The matte coating is what made his experience better. Now, when you're looking at these two monitors side by side at night, they both look amazing. However, the UCDM looks even better because of that clarity. It's so beautiful to look at that when you look at a matte display, you are immediately turned off. A lot of my comments tend to bash matte coatings, and I get it. Gloss just looks amazing. Now keep in mind that the UCDP also has a unique dual mode feature that allows you to change from 4K 240 to 1080p resolution, but with a crazy fast 480Hz refresh rate. The many settings on the UCDP also seems to be more refined with more AI features. With that being said, here's my recommendation on deciding which to choose. If you're someone who plans to use this monitor during the day, you like letting in natural vitamin D, or you might have windows placed opposite of the screen, the UCDP would be an overall better experience. On the other hand, if you're someone who plans to use the monitor more during the night, maybe you have amazing lighting control, or you prefer making your setup dark, then the UCDM would be the best experience for you. These are of course my opinions, and I truly believe it all depends on your own preferences and setups. Whichever you choose, best believe you're getting some of the best 4K OLED monitors on the market. The PG32UCDP has many features to minimize the chances of OLED burn-in. The large custom heatsink helps improve cooling efficiency, and there's also a dedicated OLED care menu in the settings. You'll be able to enable screensaver, perform pixel cleaning, set up a reminder, adjust the movement of the screen, and finally you can have the monitor adjust local brightness automatically, and some of these features might reduce the overall brightness by a little. I like how pixel cleaning is performed automatically when your monitor is turned off, saving you the guesswork and hassle. There's even an OLED usage info that tracks how much time your monitor has been on, how many times your monitor performed pixel cleans, and even how many hours in between those cleans. This OLED usage info is really awesome and really wish it was included on almost every OLED monitor that's out there. You can also download ASUS's display widget sensor to give you a clean software experience where you can have a dedicated OLED care menu along with other features you can customize as well. With all those burn-in features, there's also an awesome 3-year burn-in warranty, which makes the decision and pulling the trigger easier knowing you'll be covered just in case. With the high pixel density and 4K resolution, text clarity looks amazing on this monitor. The 3rd generation W-OLED display gives you a better subpixel layout with clear pixel edge, which reduces green and red fringing on text. I found no issues with color fringing, and Office apps like Word and Excel look great. The added matte layer coating also makes it easier to use throughout the day with no glare distractions. Brightness on this monitor is one of the best you can find on an OLED monitor thanks to MLA Plus technology. I measured a peak SDR brightness of 462 nits at a 10% window and a peak of 280 nits on a 100% window. We're definitely getting the advertised SDR max of 450 nits and 250 nits at 100%. HDR peak brightness was a little bit difficult to measure, close to 1300 nits. When using the default HDR settings, the max peak brightness I kept recording was around 800 nits. It wasn't until I enabled adjustable HDR to then increase the brightness from 90 to 100 was where I was finally able to record an HDR peak of 1299 nits. I'm not sure if it's because the former version MCM 103 which changed the default HDR brightness or if it's a bug, but for now, this is what worked for me. With USB-C becoming more relevant and versatile, I appreciate ASUS for always adding USB-C DisplayPort options for laptop users, whether that's Windows or Mac OS. I can easily connect my MacBook Pro using a single cable, which also charges my laptop at the same time. By default, the power delivery is set to 65 watts, but you can change it to 90 watts, which is great. macOS on this monitor looks amazing, and what makes this monitor USB hub even better is the built-in KVM switch, which can automatically switch my wireless mouse, wired keyboard, and even Stream Deck Plus from my gaming PC to my MacBook, which is fire. The auto detect feature might not always be perfect, but you can also manually switch it to either USB-B or USB-C in the menu settings. The USB-C bandwidth can also be increased to USB 3.2. For productivity, this monitor is amazing. 4K OLED makes creating content a way better experience. You get accurate colors and awesome contrast levels, and the large 32-inch display gives you a ton of space for multitasking. I get a good view of the timeline when video editing, and jumping back and forth from browsing the web, emails, and office apps makes this monitor a productive workhouse. I would not recommend using 1080p for productivity though, since the lower pixel density makes you realize how much better 4K really is. So to the ultimate question, does the ROG Swift OLED PG32UCDP deserve a spot in your gaming setup? I mean, if you're looking for one of the best 4K OLED monitors that delivers amazing 4K gaming with a ton of features, then I think this monitor is a great choice. The dual mode feature might also be the reason you want this monitor. For example, you're a gamer who wants ultra fast refresh rates where those extra frames could give you the competitive advantage. Maybe your desk setup is very limited in space where you can only have one dedicated monitor. 4K for work, 1080p for gaming might be a smart solution. And finally, you might have a graphics card that isn't great at 4K gaming. However, with 1080p gives you the needed boost in performance for you to have an enjoyable gaming experience. The price is very steep though at $1,300, but considering that the LG launched their 32GS95UE at $1,400, which is what this monitor is based on, I appreciate ASUS for keeping it lower. Now, I personally would choose the PG32UCDP over the LG, despite the LG having an awesome pixel sound system and a way better desk stand. Now, the reason for this is because I prefer having USB-C, KVM switch, and a less aggressive matte coating. Now, whether the matte coating is the best or right option for you really depends on your own setup and preferences, so I highly recommend checking out the PG32UCDM review that I dropped a few days back. I think the PG32UCDP is one of the best 4K OLED monitors with some of the best versatility. I have no issues recommending this monitor and think it's a great choice for not only gamers, but also as an all-in-one monitor. And for those reasons, this monitor deserves a spot in your gaming desk setup. If you're interested in getting this monitor or the mini tech that you've seen in this video, I will have affiliate links down below, which also helps to support the Firewolf Tech channel. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I would love your support with a like, share, and subscribe. Firewolf out.